Today on the Feathered Pen, we'll take a look at the new Obamacare ruling, possibly throwing out federal subsidies that will impact some 4 million users. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Feathered Pen. I'm your host, Derek Hayes. Give me your opinion because I'm surely going to give you mine. Today, the Affordable Health Care Act and whether or not the Obama administration had the legal right to hand out subsidies. The Obama administration has struck back and said the intent is written into the law, but we'll take a closer look at how this may affect millions of Americans. Next, we'll talk about Michael Sam and Tony Dungy. Things are heating up in the sports world around the 7th round draft pick, which is unprecedented, and I want your opinions and your feedback. Currently, 14 states have exchanges. The 27 states you see highlighted in purple have opted for the federal exchange. The 9 states that are not highlighted have a hybrid. That means there may be 36 states that will see an increase in their health care. According to data from the Health and Human Services Department, we see that on average, about 5 million Americans get their exchanges from the federal government. They have, on average, seen their prices go from $340 down to $82. The question becomes whether or not the Obama administration had a legal right to do so. A D.C. Circuit Court upheld 2-1 that it in fact had no such authority. The plain text, looking objectively at the law, it states that only those individuals who get their health care from a state-run exchange are those individuals who are eligible for a subsidy. The Obama administration did not take into account those states that would, in a legal way, opt out. So we need to take a look at who this will affect more than others. Pooling the data from the Health and Human Services website, it's clear that a variety of individuals will experience the impact should the courts uphold. 62% of those who signed up for exchanges were white, 16% African American. 54% of those signing up were women. 34% are under the age of 35. It's clear that this will have an impact throughout the nation. But a Fourth Circuit Court in Virginia has upheld the Obama administration's legal right to offer the federal subsidies. It's clear that this is headed for a battle. The next step, all 11 judges on the Washington, D.C. Circuit Court will weigh in on the federal subsidies. Where do we go from here? While that remains to be seen, what we can see is what happens when the federal government gets involved with running healthcare. While we certainly want to applaud President Obama and his administration, we also need to be honest that this is a broken system that's not working. We need to be discussing on the federal, state, and local levels, how do we repeal? On the flip side of that, we also need to talk about what are the answers? What are the solutions? You see, it was never the intent of the founders and framers of our country and our nation for the federal government to begin to dictate to its people services that they must have. And we see clearly what happens when government bureaucracy gets in the way. I'm sure that you guys have some awesome, excellent ideas around our healthcare system. Share those with us here at the Feathered Pen. Share those in your community. Let's get to repealing. Do you recall who was drafted in the NFL's 7th round last season? Well, neither do I. But that's not the case for defensive end for the St. Louis Rams, Michael Sam. February 2014, he found himself at the forefront of a media firestorm as he openly announced that he was gay. The latest controversy came when former coach Tony Dungy expressed that he would not have drafted Michael Sam because of all the media coverage. In an interview on Sunday with the Tampa Tribune, Coach Dungy made it clear that Sam has the right to play. However, because of the media backlash, he found himself restating Tuesday that this was never about his ability or the fact that he was homosexual. He did, however, state that this was simply about the media coverage and not wanting his team to be distracted if he were a head coach. He also made it clear that he was answering questions. He never had any follow-up questions about how he felt about Sam personally or about his ability to play. This particular issue highlights our inability to listen to one another, as well as our lack of respect for each other's opinions. Coach Dungy made it clear that this was not about Sam personally. This is the slippery slope that we're on. And continuously, we see that if you do not hold the correct public opinion, then your public opinion is being silenced. There was a time where we were asked to stay out of people's bedrooms, but increasingly, we have been asked to come into the bedroom and to also celebrate that. It doesn't matter what side of the opinion you're on. What we need to begin to see is people have rights to their opinion. People have rights that cannot be violated, and we don't want to become thought police. We don't want to become individuals who then enslave other people on a mental level simply because they hold a different opinion. That's un-American. That's not the Republic. So regardless of how you feel on the issue, we're not talking right or wrong here. We are saying it is wrong to somehow silence individuals who think otherwise, who have a different opinion than you do. That is particularly un-American. On the same subject, recently, I believe today, Colorado will be looking at addressing whether the gay marriage ban will be upheld. And they want, the citizens of that state want the Supreme Court to decide that. That is a fallacy. Why? Because that is not a federal issue. Homosexual marriage itself is not a federal issue. At the very least, the states should be deciding where or when and how they're going to implement that or not. And that's for the states to decide, the people in those cities to vote on. And so this has been today's edition of The Feather Pen. Peace.